Hello everyone. So today I did Prescott National Forest, Prescott, and then I did the whole area south of Prescott, which is a series of campgrounds called Grooms Creek. I even found a backwoods dirt road through a series of hidden campgrounds. A lot of fun. I went via Wickenburg. As you can see, I'm heading here up through the south end, and instead of taking I-17, and I was pleasantly surprised because there was a lot of twisties, and just had a ball on these twisties. Hadn't had it on the hardball in a while, and traffic was actually pretty light. There was a lot of bikes out, but I just couldn't do I-17. I-17 is just it's crowded, and everyone wants to drive 95 miles per hour. It's just not any fun anymore. So taking the back way into Prescott and Prescott Valley and Prescott National Forest is always a good alternative, and had a lot of fun, as you can see on these twisties. So as I increase in elevation, you'll watch the pines appear, the saguaro cacti in the low desert will go away, and you'll see the brown be replaced by green. Also, the temperature is going to drop about 10 degrees. Not many places in the United States you can go where you can only drive an hour, maybe an hour and a half out of the city and get into pure nature with fresh air. And of course, in Phoenix, with our degrading air quality, it's really nice to get up to Prescott and breathe that fresh air. It's really good for your health. I think everybody should get up there once a week or at least once a month. It's 950 miles of scenic trails and more than 100,000 acres of wilderness. It's got a very mild climate. They do get snow in the wintertime, and it's divided into 3 administrative districts: the Bradshaw Ranger District, the Chino Valley Ranger District, and the Verde Ranger District. It is a national park. Forest Service took charge in 1906. It became a national forest in 1907, and it absorbed Verde National Forest. And then on October 22nd, 1934, it absorbed Tusayan National Forest. There are dispersed campsites, and what I mean by that is those are campsites that are underdeveloped and no facilities such as trash collection, water, or toilets are provided. So those are usually campsites that are reserved for experienced campers, because you've got to bring it all in or you've got to figure it out. So if you're glamping, probably easy to do a dispersed campsite. If you're not, you need to be experienced. But there's 11 of those camp locations, and I passed one in the video later on. That one was C101, which is the Groom Creek Cutoff Road. There's 11 of those, and then for family campgrounds, there are 10 of those, and I also passed one of the family campgrounds. I think it was Groom Creek Horse Camp. I think that's the one. But as you can see here, as I've been talking, I'm already getting out of the low desert and getting into a lot more green. And so when you see the pines appear, it gets really exciting. But I had pretty fun in the twisties, but as I started to approach Prescott, unfortunately I got behind a slow-moving truck and trailer and then a car. Of course, in these single-lane highways or one-lane highways, it's difficult to get around. You know, it was double yellow line for most of the approach into the Prescott city limit, but still a beautiful drive, and also plenty of places to pull off. It was pretty safe overall. I mean, there were escape routes. There were places that you could stop if you got into trouble. It's not like, there were any steep drop-offs that weren't blocked or weren't barricaded. So overall, a pretty good drive up. The twisties were a lot of fun, but then as the elevation starts to decline, as you get into Prescott and you get over the large ridge there, it gets a lot easier to ride and drive, and just really beautiful. And then this is around the time when you feel the temperature drop. It didn't drop 10 degrees, but it did drop a good 7 degrees, and then there was a westerly breeze. So with that, plus the 7 degrees, I was very comfortable. Even the KLR was running pretty cool when I was in Prescott. Then when I got back down the hill at the end of the day, back down into Phoenix, of course, you can hear the fan running continuously. So everything just gets a lot hotter. Like I said, a lot of bikes out today. Didn't see too many adventure bikes, but I saw a lot of Harleys and saw a lot of crotch rockets. And so this is where we're just getting into Prescott. Immediately there was a Days Inn right on the left side. I checked the price, it was $147, so pretty steep pricing. There's a Hilton Garden Inn that's real nice on top of a hill, but it was $284, just ridiculous. I don't know why you would want to pay $300 for a hotel. But prices for hotels in general are up. I haven't checked these boutiques. There's a little boutique hotel. There was a lot of cool antique shops, and just like I stopped in one of them, and there was like war memorabilia from World War II in one of the antique shops that I stopped at. They had an actual World War II helmet. It was $135. I didn't buy it, of course, but still kind of interesting to see some of these shops. Neat little town overall. Prescott kind of reminds me of the all-American town. If there was one remaining, it would be Prescott. There was a car show today, so a lot of exotic sports cars there. But you can see the city hall right there and how well maintained the park is. Beautiful little town and fun. This is called Whiskey Row right here on the left, and so there's a series of bars that you can stop off at. A lot of bikes, a lot of bikers, cool community, an eclectic community of people that all got together and kind of hang out, and everybody kind of gets along. It's a real calm, cool vibe up there in Prescott. So then after lunch, I had a really good lunch, really cool cafes, high-end food, so I was really impressed, and it wasn't that expensive. So after a really good lunch in Prescott, and kind of hung out in the park and looked at some of the exotic cars, got back, headed south, and I wanted to do a little off-road or explore some of the campgrounds. So I did find, just by random chance, and even really looked too much on the maps, I found it's called Ponderosa Road, and that's going to be one of the primary turns that kind of connects you with all the campgrounds on the south. So I took this road, and it was about 3 or 4 miles, and then I got into like a hidden, off the beaten path residential area, and it looked like cabins. Some people did live up there. There were some houses, but more it looked like there were cabins, and really cool little community, little residential community. So the campgrounds are behind this little residential community. This one right here, directly across the street from the stop sign on the right, that cabin is just beautiful. He's got beautiful property, and the cabin looked like it was just pristine. Really nice property. And then, as I mentioned, at the rear of the residential area, Ponderosa Road, you go across this cattle guard, and it converts into a well-maintained dirt road. 2 cars can pass one another side by side. I didn't see too many campers or RVs. I did see some, but for the most part, very surprisingly, I saw mostly tents. So this would be one of the dispersed camping areas, the C101. Real impressive to see that people were camping in tents, and no facilities back there, and not too many campers, not too many RVs, minimal traffic. I did see 1 or 2 dirt bikes out on the path. This part right here, as you get down 3 or 4 miles into the trail or to the road, it gets pretty gamey. You can see off on the right side there's a drop off. Not that big of a drop off, but you get to one point and there was a pretty steep drop off. This road does not loop around. It goes all the way up to the northeast side of Prescott, so it's going to dump you out about 25 miles away from your entry point, so you're going to have to double back. So just remember that if you come in on the south end on Ponderosa Road, you're going to have to double back in order to exit the camping area, because it will not loop around. I thought that it looped around. I got pretty far into the road and I thought, well, this loops around. I'm sure it does. And it does loop, but it forms an incomplete loop and it dumps you out 25 miles northeast of your entry position. So just know that going into it. But really cool area. I'll definitely be back up there to camp. Thanks for watching today's video. Let's take a look at where we went. So here's Prescott. There's Groom Creek. It was in this area here. And then all these campgrounds were on the south. And there's the trail. See you guys next weekend.